Oh, good, nobody's in here. I like it.
Yeah, well, I think
Going
they're in.
first and
I think they're in here now.
are they going to hear us out there?
Oh yeah, so that's the camera up there. Welcome to the State of the City Facebook Live. I have Council Member Mona Underwood here. Mona, we know each other pretty well. That's why I started with you. Tell if people don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you lived here? Kids?
Well, I got married and came here because my husband was here, and we just loved Rincon. And we pretty much have raised our children within a mile of Macomber Ballpark. I mean, we've always been in Rincon. It's home to us. I think the best thing about me right now is Mimi. I'm enjoying the grandma phase of life. And then, making a difference in the city's been really rewarding.
Absolutely. Well, what I know about you is that you care about people. You care about the people in this community, the older people, the younger people. You look out your window and see the park and the kids there. And I knew you were going to mention those grandkids. I have them mentioned here too. You've been chasing them all over, and you've been seeing what other communities have that we should have.
Yes.
And I think that's near and
Yes.
dear to you to provide that for our residents.
Yes, yes. There's not a greater treasure in the world than the next generation, because we're one generation always away from losing everything we got. So to pour into our children, not just spiritually, but mentally and physically, spend time with them is rewarding. I do a lot through missions from First Baptist, so I'm very familiar with all the missions in the community too, Manna House, Family Promise, Habitat, Pregnancy Care Center. We work with all these ministries. So I'm in the community in a large way through the missions organization through First Baptist also. So I've always had a heart for missions. I've traveled a lot to third world countries, but you always want to come home.
That's right. And you're doing a great job. Everybody, if you need to know something about this town, this lady can tell you right here. She can talk you through what's happening and what we're doing next. Just ask her. That's all you got to do. You might get a little longer than you thought. And that's why I started with her, because I knew she would fill this void that we have in the room. But we thank you for your service. We thank you for doing so much for the community. And we can't wait to see how these next 3 or 4 years plan.
It's going to be interesting. And, I think one of the greatest things we're doing right now is codes and ordinances, and what we're doing for overlay districts and protecting our city and planning out our city for a really wonderful future.
That master plan.
The
That's
master plan that we are going to start pursuing now that we've got all the codes and ordinances in place, and we've got the protections in place that help us plan a better city, but it also protects the investments of our residents in their homes.
Right.
There's so many positive things about a good code and ordinance. And we've worked diligently for the last year on that. That's done, though it changes constantly because codes and ordinances do. But the next step in the process is a master plan, and we're excited about that and planning what this city's going to look like in 2050.
Well, so much has happened. I mean, the Macomber Park just looks beautiful. I mean, all the concrete that's been done, the upgrades to the fencing and the backstops, it's beautiful. And I know you had a part in that. So we thank you for that. And I know these kids that come to town, they love it. I mean, you can see
They
their
do.
faces, their smile. If you see in some of these pictures that we have rolling over here, the kids just love it. And the residents are starting to notice. And we just thank you so much for your service and what you're doing for us.
We're enjoying every minute of it. It's been a wild ride sometimes, but we're enjoying absolutely every minute of it. And we're working hard. I mean, we're always working, always.
So true, so true. Next up, thank you, Mona. Appreciate it. Next up, Miss Michelle Taylor. Hey there, Michelle.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. Well, now tell us, you and your husband own a business here in town, is that right?
Yes, we have a dental office. We've been here for 26 years. And we've seen the kids grow up with our kids.
Right.
So it's just been awesome.
Yeah. And you have kids, and now I have a grandkid, I
Yes,
think.
I have a granddaughter now, and very excited. But hopefully my children will move back here, but they live in Pooler.
Because
So
you're the empty nest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's true. Well, you got the pool, right? So they'll
Yeah.
be coming home.
You're right,
They'll
you're
be
right.
coming back for the pool to bring the kids and all that
Yeah.
good stuff. Well, Michelle lives, downtown, so she knows everything about this city as well. She has been through running a business and knowing how to start a business and keep that business going and the regulations. She's right by the city hall, so you've done a great job with that and keeping this city, and beautification, that was part of what you did
Yes.
early on, and we appreciate that, the things that you've done.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's one of the main reasons why I was asked to be on council, and I'm like, well, heck, if I get on council, maybe I could do something to pretty the city up a
That's
little
right.
bit.
And it's
So,
worked, and it's
yeah.
worked, and everybody's noticing. I mean, the Veterans Park that you guys were spearheaded, that is unbelievable. If you haven't stopped at Veterans Park, you should. It was really just a rundown place before, and now it's just so beautiful. We had the Christmas tree there, and it was just awesome. I mean, I know you were part of that. And
Yes,
that
yes.
was just-
It was a push, and with the right council, we were able to get it done. So
Right.
I'm very excited about it, very proud of it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, today I saw people out there taking pictures. So,
With the eggs,
that
yeah.
made my heart just feel so good.
Yeah,
So-
James got the eggs out there and people taking Easter pictures out there. The Christmas thing was just that small town feel. We were out there for the tree lighting and the sleigh that was out there. It was just an amazing experience. If you didn't come to that, certainly be there for next year for the Christmas tree lighting.
True, and I hear that all the time. People thank us just for having the tree.
Right.
I mean, it's so special, and they say it made the community feel like a community.
Absolutely, absolutely. The rodeo, the things that they're having, the spring fairs coming up. There's so much happening in this town that I don't know if it's just because I'm involved or you're a part of it or whatever, but it's really has become a great place to live.
It has.
It's
And
changed so much.
we'd rather people stay here. And people don't want to drive to Pooler or Savannah. They want stuff to do here, and I'm proud of that. And we are planning our city up to 2050. That's our goal.
Wow.
We want more good things for the city. You know, we work really hard, like Mona said,
Yeah.
and we're always thinking forward. So we don't lag. You know,
Right.
a lot of times things don't get done if you don't forward think and plan.
Oh, yeah, so many things. I mean, I talked to Brandy about it, but so many things. Just clearing up the being able to pay something or approve something that, should be mundane. Of course, we want to paint that building. Let's approve the go up to $20,000. That was one thing you did,
Yes.
which made a lot of things move around here. That
Yes,
was awesome.
it did move faster. And that was the hardest thing I had to get used to, because in the private sector, we make a decision, boom, it's done. With anything with government, it's so slow,
So
and people
slow.
don't realize that.
Yeah.
And I was discouraged for a long time. I'm like, good Lord, can we get this going? But now we have a council that is really excited about moving the city forward, and I just love everybody on it. We all get along, and we don't agree every time. People think, oh, they're all friends. Well, a lot of times we don't see each other till we get to council. We are friends, but we don't agree every time.
That's what's called executive session.
Right.
But anyway, we appreciate that. I mean, sometimes you can sense that I don't think they quite agree on that, but you guys work it out, and that's important, that you've been
Yes.
able to work it out and come to some sort of an agreement. Well, I thank you, and I know Kevin does, and the rest of the city, so we appreciate you, and you just keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, I got 3 years on this term, so we've got to push and get as much done as possible.
So 4 more years sounds like that's what everybody says, but you got 3 more years, right?
Right, well,
That's what you got left, yeah.
Brandy and Mona and I have 3 more years.
That's right,
We already
right.
have the 1.
Yeah.
But, this being my second term, I want to get stuff done.
Right.
So,
And
because
it's moving
you never
faster.
know. You
Yeah.
never know, so.
That's right. Well,
But
you're going
thank
to
you.
You're going to do great. You're great. And Brandy, you're up next. Thank you so much.
Thank you for what you do.
Oh gosh. Mr. Damon Ron has entered the room. So Brandy, that was I segued into you because you being a business owner, you realized pretty quickly that things weren't happening. It seemed like you talk about it, and then you got to wait on this approval, and it's really just it just needs to move faster. And I know you were instrumental on getting that done.
And in all honesty, that's one of the reasons that I ran. When I went to open my business in the city limits of Rankin, it took so long to get through the process and get everything approved. And
Yeah, simple
Yeah,
as a
just
sign or
yeah.
a license.
yeah, I mean, just we hit a lot of snags along the way that just took way too long. It shouldn't be that complicated.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't. So getting on council was, that was one of our first focuses, was how can we streamline what we're doing within the city?
Yeah, I watch the stream, and I can see whenever you are interested, because it shows all over your face.
My face hides nothing.
That's right. If you don't agree, I can tell from my living room.
Yes.
But that's what's great, is that, these are real people. These council people are real people. They have real businesses and real trouble, and real things that go on to get the job done. So tell us about your business. So you have a business, and you worked at Gulfstream as well before
did.
your business. So
I
did.
did.
You kind of saw a big business and you went and started your own.
I had a childhood dream of owning a restaurant.
Wow. I
So
like
I
that.
started my career in corporate banking and finance, and then I was at Gulfstream for 16 years and decided that my kids were grown and it was time to open that restaurant that I'd always wanted to open.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
it's
what
a
I
great
did.
restaurant. Now, you have a daughter. She's 14, 15. How old is she?
No, I have two, and if I tell you that, I'm aging
Oh,
myself.
well, then don't do it. Then don't do it. But
But I
that's
do
what
have
it looks like to
grandchildren.
me. Oh,
I have two grandchildren.
wow. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that shows how much I know. I thought I knew everything. But thank you. I didn't tell Brandy anything we were asking, so she was a little bit nervous when she walked in, but look what she did. Now she's a pro. So that's good. Do you have anything you want to work on for the next 3 years that you have? You got, what's important to you?
All of it,
All of it.
everything.
Yeah.
I just want to keep pushing and getting as much done as we can.
Well, without you, things wouldn't have moved so far, because you did the research to find out what other cities and municipalities were approving at the city manager level, at the department head level, and you brought that forward to everyone, and they said, yeah, that's great, let's do that. So it's Brandy that has really brought that stuff forward to let us move forward with some of these projects that we're doing, like Macomber, some stuff at the golf course, and Giles Park, and other things like that. So I attribute that to you and what you did. So.
Definitely not just me. It was all of us. We've all worked very hard to get a lot of stuff done.
Well, you were pretty frustrated when you realized things weren't going on. You said, we got to figure out how to get this done. And you went and did the work. So I appreciate that. And
Thank
I know
you.
the residents do.
Thank you.
So speaking of Giles Park, you're off the hook, Brandy.
Thanks.
Speaking of Giles Park, we have some folks here from Empire Gym that have made a donation to Giles Park. Was I supposed to say that? That was fine, yeah.
That was great. That was wonderful.
Okay, good. Thank you, Brandy. So we have Mary and Jamie here from Empire Gym. And if you haven't been to Empire Gym, they're looking for you. Yeah,
We'll find you.
yeah. It's over behind Sachiro's, a new place there. And y'all have a food business as well, is that right?
No, we don't have Project Lean Nation.
Oh,
right now.
okay.
We
All right.
closed it. We're just focusing on the gym.
See, I thought I knew everything.
See, you
Right.
learn something every
Yeah.
day, though.
Well, that's awesome. So tell us about the gym.
So we're a 24/7 old school iron gym, and we have a little bit of something for everybody. We have Zumba and hip hop classes. We have boot
Whoa.
camp classes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fit
yeah.
Kids classes.
Fit
So,
Kids, it's taken
you know,
off
we're
really
trying
well.
We're trying to make it a full family environment where the parents are setting a good example for the children by coming to the gym and working out and having, a regular exercise program, and they're incorporating, we've got programs that incorporate the kids in that. Ashley Boyette, who's also really big in the community, she does a couple of Fit Kids classes each week. And, if you're a member of the gym and you can bring your kids to those classes, we're trying to set the example for these kids early so that they grow up and they have these habits throughout their teenage years into their early 20s. And then when they start having families, that's just something that they do.
It's a
They're going to look at their
lifestyle
kids and
change.
their
Yeah.
kids are going to say, well, why do we go to the gym and why do we work out? And it's like, because our family does. It always has. That's
Right.
that's something that's generational.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm in the golf business, and
Yeah.
my daughter, who danced her entire career, she danced the career when she was in my household. She danced, never touched a golf club. now she works doing a lot of golf stuff and works for like a golf charity and different things like that. Wants to play golf. So it comes back around. So if you teach kids now, it'll come back around.
And she
I like
learned that somewhere. She learned
learned
it
it
from
somewhere.
her parents.
Yeah, that's
You know?
right. That's exactly right.
And we've got a 12-year-old, and, you know, he knows what it's like to go to the gym 3 to 4 days a week to either do cardio, or he participates in the Fit Kids classes. And it's just, it's a responsibility we have as parents to ensure that our children are going to grow up and be healthy.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
because you want them to be healthy and not have to fight diseases and not have to combat ailments and things like that. And it's,
Right.
you just want your children to grow up as healthy as possible and have healthy grandchildren.
Right.
And we want to continue working out so that we're healthy and old, so that we can, you know, 'cause we want to be able to spoil them grandbabies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I know a lot of people are excited about it, and you guys made a donation to a local park that we have here.
Yeah,
And
Giles Park.
that to me that doesn't happen anymore. People don't really do that, and you guys sort of low key did that first, and here I am announcing it.
Yeah.
But I know that residents appreciate that. It's going to be a great place once it's all done.
We're excited about it. We're going to continue to pour into it
Yeah.
because it is important.
And this is our community.
Right.
It really is. I'm born and raised here. Moved away when I was in the Army, and never thought I'd come back, but God had a different plan for us. And
Right.
I brought this amazing woman with me, and she says, well, if we're going to be part of this community, we're going to be in the community.
In it, yeah.
And she says, if it's our goal to make this the healthiest city in the state of Georgia, which is one of her goals,
Yeah.
then that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to start reaching one person at a time, one family at a time, and that's how you end up having a long-term impact.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to kind of shun the gaming people, but gaming for a while there, especially during COVID, it kept people inside. And then there's, my kids played video games, but they never really, they were more outside and doing things. But it can be very addictive, and I know that we want to be addicted to health, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of somebody with type 2, I've had a heart attack. I got all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So
I know a gym.
you know a gym, yeah. I guarantee it, yeah.
I
So
know a
that-
trainer too.
Well, maybe I can get rid of my type 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know the community appreciates you so much for doing what you do, and that gift was just awesome. And we look forward to seeing what else comes down from you guys and where we're going to go from here.
Well,
Sounds
and
great.
we have discussed this, and that's not a one-time.
No.
That's not a
That'll be
one-time
an
thing.
annual giving of
That's
something.
that's something we want to continue, and we want to take and reach and challenge other businesses to
Yeah.
do the same thing, because hey, this is your community. If you want
Right.
to complain about how the community is run, then become involved in the community.
And
My
be a game
dad my
changer.
dad used to say, if you got a problem with something we're doing, then come to me with a solution.
That's right. Yeah, I hear a lot of that being friends with Kevin. I hear a lot of stuff that comes through.
You
And
hear a
it-
lot of stuff from Kevin.
Yeah, and it,
He's a lot.
You do. I mean, these people, these council members, they sit up here and take a lot, but but they're the ones sticking their neck out, like you say.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it just don't work out, and people don't say, well, I'm a council person, but why are you attacking me? I'm trying to make better for this city. I'm not trying to change it.
They do all work very hard.
I know, and it's a shame sometimes how that plays out for them, and it's not necessarily fair, especially when these people don't come forward or even to a meeting like tonight to say, hey, I like what you're doing, or I don't like what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Well, and you know what? If you got issues with the way the city's being run, come to the city council meetings, because you'll see what they're facing every week or every time they have a meeting, the stuff that they're dealing with, and you'll become aware of what's really going on in the community. And another thing too is I'll say this: if you don't vote, don't complain.
That's so true.
If you want to complain, go vote. And then you've got at least got some skin in the game.
That's right. That's right.
But if you're not going to help the problem, don't make it worse.
That's right. Well, we appreciate you, and I'm glad that you came in here tonight dressed like this. I love it. The Empire gives back. It's so awesome, and you didn't know I was going to ask you anything.
No.
They came in this uniform,
Yeah,
so that's awesome. Thank you so
I just
much.
wore this so she would know who
Appreciate
a
it.
ride was.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mr. Milner, come on up. Good job, guys. Thank you. Hey, Tim, how are you, buddy?
Good, thank you.
So Tim and I live in the same neighborhood, and I've known him for a while. And he got asked to be on the council to finish a seat that was vacated by Kevin.
By Mr. Exley,
That's
who's
right.
now our mayor.
Yeah. And so, tell us about yourself. Where'd you come from? I think you're an
Well,
Ohio guy. right?
Originally, born and raised in Canton, Ohio. Everybody's heard of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I see a Michigan shirt, so we might be going out back here in a minute. Moved here in 2004 for my company that I worked for.
Right to the house you're in now?
No.
No?
We lived in Hickory Knob for about 14, 15 years, and we've lived in Lost Plantation on the 16th hole for about 6 years now.
Oh, okay. And you have kids that are here, or your wife has kids here.
Yes, we do. Two children in their 30s. That gives my age away. My daughter's a teacher, third grade at Rincon Elementary. My son works at Gulfstream.
Nice. And they have the most beautiful dog.
Yes, Bo.
What is that? What's his name?
It's a Labradoodle.
It's the most beautiful dog. It goes everywhere. It's such a good dog. I'm impressed by the dog.
Thank you.
And they say, a dog.
He's a family dog.
They take the dog everywhere. and I heard this a long time ago. If you want a good dog, take it everywhere you go.
Yes.
Well, they do that, right?
We take it to the beach.
But I've also heard that about children, and I sort of did my children that way. If you want good children, make them behave. Take them everywhere you go, right? Well, they've done a great job with their dog and their children.
Oh, thank
so
you. I really appreciate that.
And so you just got on really a few months ago, right?
Yeah, so I just really got involved January of a year ago. I was appointed to Planning and Zoning. The first meeting, they appointed me as chairman,
Yep.
and I was on there until November 12th, which then I was appointed to city council.
Nice. Well, I know you're excited about getting started in the city and helping out and doing your part and trying to find your place and where you want to be in this thing that people got going on. Because you drive a bus for as your second Twilight career, you drive a bus with the kids. You know all the kids.
Yeah, so I've driven bus for the county for about 6 years now. I was a trainer to train other bus drivers, and it's a thrill at the end of the day to see the parents give the kids a hug. And I know I've done my job.
Yeah.
So I'm well connected in a lot of services in the community. I've umpired, volunteered, bus driving, and my favorite is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Because I'm here to tell you, if you've seen change happen, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because it's coming, and it is exciting. Get involved. Like they said, come to council meetings, vote. It's not just us making these decisions. We need the citizens of the community to come to us to help make these decisions.
Right. Yeah. Well, I see you all the time, and I feel like I know you, but I forgot that you lived in Hickory Knob for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we have some friends that live over there too, or that we didn't know and met each other later on. So we have this connection in this town. Yeah.
Yes, it's a
Everybody
small
does.
community. Everybody knows your name,
That's right. Yeah.
but we are growing, and we want to make sure we grow in the right way.
Now in Willowpeg and Lost Plantation, you got sidewalks going in. I know
We
you
do.
did some with that.
Yeah, so recently, Willowpeg is an HOA of 60 lots within the LP community, which is over 500 lots. And just in the last 60 days, we've been able to get our drains cleaned out and already receiving great reviews on the drainage situation.
And that's been going on other areas of the city as
Yes, and they're working over in other areas to get the, with the new company that's handling our public works,
well.
EOM,
EOM.
they are doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, like you said, we have sidewalks going in And we've been talking about this for a couple years now, and we're excited. They're getting ready to break ground here in the
And
next
thanks to Ms.
36
Brandy,
days.
things are getting approved.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
thank you, Tim. I've got Mr. Lou.
Thank you so
over
much.
here. Thank you, sir.
And thank you all for coming tonight.
So we got Fire Chief Lou Reed, who I spent some time with yesterday. Hey, Lou.
How are you?
And I'm doing great. Well, I learned yesterday that 62% of their calls are
Medical calls.
medical calls. So he should really be in a nurse outfit up here, but it probably wouldn't look as snazzy. This guy, 62% of their, I mean, house fires last year, we had
9.
9.
We ran 2,340 calls last year. 62% of those were medical.
And that's-
Only 9 were house fires.
That's 6.4 calls a day in a 24-hour day.
Correct.
Right. Because you're fully staffed 24 hours a day.
Yes, 24/7, 365. My guys work 1 day on and 2 days off.
So even though they drive around in those trucks, you see them all the time. You know, I used to ask maybe you wonder this too, but you see the fire truck go out every time, you see them at somebody's house and they're just there for a minute and you think, now why did they bring all those trucks over here? And I complained, I thought about it in my mind, they shouldn't be bringing those trucks out here all the time. Why do you bring the trucks out, Lou?
Because we have to cover the city.
Which means if your house catches on fire while he's tending to your ankle, he don't have to go back to the fire station to get the truck.
Right.
So they're the smart ones, we're the dumb ones, trying to figure out why they have those trucks everywhere. But I know that was something I always thought about, but you explained it to me yesterday. But 62% of their calls are medical. So the fire business is really just a side gig. Every once in a while, something catches on fire and they'll go put it out.
They'll go put it out.
Yeah, and I think you said you had 9 fires or 2 house fires. Is that what it was?
We're 9 house fires
9.
altogether. Now, we run auto aid with the county, so some of those fires count towards that. So,
And on average, how long does it take you to get to somebody's house in Rincon?
2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. I can't get my own shoes in 2.5 minutes. These guys are at your house.
My guys are required to be out of the station within the first minute.
That's amazing. That
That's
means
from sleep to straight to the truck and responding to your emergency.
I couldn't even believe that. I mean, that was just an unbelievable statistic that they can be at your home in the city of Rincon in 2.5 minutes. That's awesome. And that says a lot about your readiness, your team's readiness, and the equipment that you have. Because if you go out there to crank it up and it don't crank up, and how old is the truck?
It depends.
I know you had a 2004. Tell me about.
We had a 2004. We have a new 2024 engine. We're waiting on it to be decaled. We also have a new 100-foot mid-mount platform aerial that will be here in May of 26, and at a cost of $1.825 million.
The good news is you don't buy those every year.
No, they're good for 25 years. So
Yeah. And so you have to change the tires on these things just because they've been sitting there. And they've finished their life with how many miles? 30,000 around?
somewhere around 30,000 miles. As much as you see the trucks run, they only run in short bursts. So the city's only 9 square miles, so we may only go 2 miles one way, 2 miles back the other way. So NFPA says we can't have any tires older than 10 years on the apparatus. So they wear out pretty regularly as much as we run.
Wow. So I was pretty excited about the idea that you don't actually put out a lot of fires. People are pretty good about not setting fires here or catching their house on fire.
Correct. We had a pretty busy brush fire season. We have not had a lot of rain. And of course, the state of Georgia did away with the burn permits for Georgia forestry unless it's a machine pile from an excavator. So people can burn when they want to now, which increases our call volume because they don't have a hose standing by. It's got to be 25 feet from a structure, things of that nature. So,
So if you have, if you always call 911 for a fire, right?
Correct.
Always call 911. Always call 911 for a broken ankle, bleeding, anything like that. Now, the team you have, you just don't come by those people. I mean, you're hiring a person that not only can put out a fire, but can apply some first aid.
yes. All my staff are either EMTs or paramedics. So we are working towards our BLS license, basic life support license, which in turn gives our citizens better community preparedness for medical emergencies and things of that nature.
So I had a friend I still have a friend. He's a retired highway patrolman, but when he was on duty, he would oftentimes arrive at a wreck, right after it happened, and they would say, "Do you know CPR?" And he said, "No, I know ABC, ambulance be coming." And because he didn't know it. So for these guys to show up at your house and they can actually tend to you is a big thing. They're just not waiting on fires. And I think a lot of times that's what we think, is that they're just waiting on something to catch on fire. No, they're going out 6, almost 7 times a day to tend to the people who need help, whatever help that is. And that's pretty awesome that we have that. They don't get enough credit for what they do in that regard, for taking care of the community.
Correct. And it's our job, so we're not really looking for praise because we are public servants and that's what we do.
Right.
It is so hard to find public servants in today's job community.
Yeah.
So I have a great group of young guys and girls. They go to the gym religiously, as Empire can attest to. Also, last year we went to an insurance class 2 ISO rating. We passed our exam and went to an ISO rating 2. 10, excuse me, it's on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. We are now a class 2 in the city of Lincoln. So if your homeowner's insurance hasn't renewed, you might want to get in touch with your insurance agent and say, hey, we're now a class 2. What kind of savings am I going to get on my homeowner's insurance?
Awesome. Well, I know there's a lot of acronyms going around here with that, but I was really excited to talk to Lou about that yesterday, and he's very passionate about taking care of the community. And like I said, they're not just putting out fires; they're doing all sorts of stuff that you just wouldn't believe. If you have a chance, talk to him about that. I don't really want to talk about it on a public forum, but he'll tell you they really reach out to the community and take care of the community in a lot of different ways that I was not aware of, and I know that you're not aware of. But we appreciate what you do, and
Thank you.
I know this city does. I know Kevin does.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Chief Merle? I told Chief Merle, I told all these guys I was going to send them a list of questions that they would be able to look at and have answers. Well, I didn't do that.
Liar.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chief. We've known each other a little while. I know you've worked for the department for how long?
15 years.
Wow, I didn't know it was that long. But we go back, well, I've been here 22, 3, 4 years. So I guess I've seen you around quite a bit. But so I don't know, we had a good conversation yesterday. So we wanted to talk a little bit about what do people need to do to protect their investment, their homes? What would you say, what's the most important thing that people can do to prevent crime in their neighborhood and that type stuff?
Yeah, I wish you'd have gave me a list of questions.
We talked about it.
No,
It's the simple stuff.
I think the big thing, the most common thing going on now is all the scams. And I could sit here for an hour explaining a million different scams going on, but just be vigilant. You know, if it doesn't sound right, if it doesn't look right, don't do it. The Marshal Service is not going to come pick you up after they've warned you via text that you owe money. Don't fall into those traps. And there's several of them out there. Just
Yeah.
don't fall into it.
And I remember one, I think you called it jugging, where you get money
Jugging.
out of the bank and then they follow you.
That hopefully is gone. We've not had that in probably close to a year, I'd say 6 months to a year.
Explain
But
that. Explain
They
that.
would, there were people that would kind of set up surveillance from a short distance away from a vehicle and watch people either come out of a bank or leave an ATM with what appeared to be a large envelope, thick envelope, heavy bag. And they would follow them until they came to a stop either at their house or at another business and wait for the person to go inside. Our experience here in the city, it was always at a business. I think we had 2 or 3 different cases. The first one being $10,000, the person left under their driver's seat.
Wow.
They walk into a business and they come back out 5-10 minutes later, their window's shattered and the envelope's gone.
Yeah.
That was going on in Pooler, Beaufort, I think Richmond Hill got hit, Garden City. So it was kind of all over the area. We did wind up, I say we, law enforcement as a whole, Pooler worked on it, Garden City worked on it really hard, Beaufort worked on it, we did too. But there were a few arrests made out of that, and knock on wood, I hope that's over with.
Yeah, I know there's a few people in here that have businesses that make deposits and have cash and things like that, and I never thought about that. They'll wait till you get to the convenience store, and while you're in there, they just take everything you had. So now, we talked a little bit yesterday about how you got in the police business. Tell us a little bit about that. You don't have to go the whole story, but you can do your family members.
The whole story. My dad was in law enforcement when I was little. I was always really attracted to hearing his stories. My uncle stayed in law enforcement in Beaufort County for 30 plus years. And actually, Corporal Hester, that's here somewhere, his uncle was a large mentor for me and helped me get my original start. So he retired from Port Wentworth Police Department. Just role models for me growing up.
Yeah.
This is kind of what directed me to law enforcement. I kind of wanted to go DNR to begin with, and I realized they make even less money than we do, so kind of stayed where I am.
They do have the cool trucks, though.
They
green
do. They
trucks,
got the cool
yeah.
toys too, boats and
Yeah, they got
four-wheelers.
boats and
Yeah.
stuff. You'd see them everywhere. So we also talked about people that see police cars at the Parkers, and they want to know, why is there so many people why are they at the Parkers and not the Dunkin' Donuts? Because that's what policemen like, Dunkin' Donuts.
I try to stay away from that stereotype, and I only eat them behind closed doors. But so, yeah, that was a big Facebook thing where people were trying to
And we're on
give
Facebook.
give us a hard time. Good.
Yeah.
So I can combat it a little bit.
Yeah.
They were trying to give us a hard time about, I guess, twiddling our thumbs in the Parker's parking lot. Well, our guys, they try to find somewhat of a centralized location in the city to hold their shift briefings, to go over daily pass-ons. We send out via email after every shift. They can go over details like that. They can kind of get their bearings and their plans for the day, and that's what they were doing when they were catching heat from Facebook. They were doing their shift briefings.
So if you see a lot of cars at Parkers, or probably the new Gate store, because they got a nice parking lot.
That will be the new location.
Yeah, it is a central location for these guys to pass off the information that they're getting about crime or whatever they're working on at the time, because policemen do have a shift, they get off, and they have to turn that over to somebody else. So picking a central location is important. And it probably should be at the Dunkin' Donuts. That's a little more central, I think, but maybe not. But if you see those, that's what's going on. They're not up there, messing around or whatever. It's actual business going on. You see it oftentimes, two highway patrolmen in the middle of the road. That's the same thing they're doing, is passing off information. So no different for our town.
That's right.
Yeah. So obviously, there's some other things that go on. What do people need to do? It's probably their valuables, keep them out of view when you're different places, parking your car at night, keeping the door locked.
The big thing is when you get home. That's where the county just had a rash of entering autos over the weekend and into early this week. I don't even know the number of victims they had, but I know they are up to 5 or 6 arrests right now where they literally go door to door in subdivisions, generally larger subdivisions, and just pull on door handles. Whatever's locked, they rummage through the car and find whatever valuables they can, whether it be a gun or cash or whatever. And we were responding to this after the fact and trying to take these people into custody where a firearm was left in the car and they've stolen it. Now we have to mitigate that issue, hopefully with no use of force needed. But that's the predicament it puts us in. So we ask everybody to make sure you keep your cars locked, keep your valuables out. That includes firearms.
Yeah, you know, it's open, is it, it's concealed carry now? What is it in Georgia?
Constitutional carry in Georgia.
So you can carry in Georgia, so you don't have to leave it in your car. You can take it inside, and I would suggest that you do, and I know you do
Absolutely,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, what else is coming on in this area? You got any outreach plan for the kids?
We have a fairly new program we've started. It's called RAD, stands for Rape Aggression Defense. I'm not going to get into many details because it's supposed to be a secretive thing, but
Okay.
that'll be being pushed out a little more. The Detective Ron heads that up for us. She just spoke at Rotary today, and Rotary is going to kind of help her push that forward too. So that's the latest thing we're pushing out. And we're constantly trying to be in the school and talk to the kids and all kind of things we're doing.
Yeah. So you not only have uniformed officers, you have detectives.
That's right. So the Rankin Police Department is comprised of our patrol division. If it was fully staffed, that's 18 officers, corporals, sergeants, 18 in total. We have our school resource division. We just started 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I forget about those.
That's 2 guys in that unit. We have our K-9 unit, and we have our criminal investigative unit. And then we have some civilian staff too. So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I know everyone here appreciates you keeping us safe and keeping the streets, keeping the traffic down and not pulling over people on 21, right?
I think the mayor's got some interesting stats for y'all for later.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, please don't pull over anyone on 21 at 7 o'clock in the morning going that way. Because that just sets the world. And Port Wentworth needs to get this message if you're out there. Just let them go. They're not going fast. Just let them go. They'll come back through. They're just going to work. That's right, yeah. Hopefully they're just going to work. If it's that time, just leave them alone.
And we make them late.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Well, I think we're about to start. I think I got the 5-minute mark. Okay. So who do we have next here? Or do you want to keep going?
Nope.
No, let's. So let's see. Hadassah, is she here? Hadassah, come on up. Yeah, we talked about this, and everybody wants to hear about finance. No, that's true. So Hadassah is new to us. How long? New to Rankin, but you've been around for years with Pooler and Port Wentworth and working in the same capacity.
Yes.
And I know that you are just steady going through the books with a fine-tooth comb, trying to figure out everything that's been done wrong for the last 28 years and beyond.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're doing a great job. You're finding a lot of good stuff, so we appreciate that. We won't go into that here, but but no, we appreciate you. Now tell us about yourself.
Well,
You have a daughter,
I have 2 sons.
2 sons.
Yes, my husband's
There I
here
go.
with me, and we have 2 sons. We've been married for 21 years now.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. And
21 years?
Yes.
Nice.
yes, and I guess I've been in government for about 10 years now. In Port Wentworth was where I started
Yeah.
the first time in government, and then later moved on to Pooler, and now in Rankin.
And you're so excited about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, oftentimes I see you with purple. Tell me that story. You either wear purple, you're carrying purple. Tell me about it. I got to know what it is.
I love purple. Purple.
Just that?
Yeah, it's my favorite color. I cannot put it out in my house because I have boys.
Oh, yeah. So you get to bring it to work.
Yes. So
Yeah.
my office, everything's purple.
Yeah. So you could go in there after hours and you could walk around and it won't take long. You'll figure out which office is hers.
Yes.
It is. She has many purple items. It's beautiful, by the way. And I thought you were going to say it represents royalty, or you were going to give me some kind of thing like that. But no, you just love it.
I just love it.
Oh, well,
Since I
that's
was
good.
little, purple
That's-
has been my favorite color.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I guess we just got a few more minutes. But I think I'll ask Pastor Reiner to come up. Are you got anything you want to tell us about? What can we do to help you? Pay your bills? Pay our bills?
Yes, please, pay your bills.
So one other thing, so we talked yesterday, the water, my wife, she used to make sure that water bill was paid because she said they will cut your water off.
Yes.
And it was going, I guess it was on Facebook, but then I find out from the Public Works people that it's not that quick. It takes a little while to get your water cut off.
Yes, it takes a little while. What we really need the community to do right now, and we will be sending out letters soon, we're about to implement a notification system in the
yeah.
city. And so the girls, the utility clerks were telling me that we don't have updated phone numbers and emails for most utility accounts.
So they can do that on Citizen Central, or they can do it some other way?
Well, we're going to explore this, this week and next week, we're going to be working together to try to put together a letter to send out to all the residents. I'm not sure if they can do it on Citizen Central, honestly, that would be good if they
Okay,
could.
yeah.
But we might just need them to either call us or mail back the form, letting us know what your updated phone numbers are and emails. We won't be doing any spam, but if you are about to get cut off, we want to be able to alert you that you're behind on your bill. Please make a payment to avoid any cutoffs. If also in the near future, any emergency
Yes.
notifications from the city, there's like a water line break or something, we can notify the subdivision.
Oh, that was pretty neat, that if there's a water line break, they can tell the people in just that area that are affected that you need to boil your water, don't drink the water, or it's
Yeah.
going to be out or be back on by this particular time.
Exactly.
And maybe some meter upgrades coming down the pipe in a few years or
Yes,
soon?
we hope to upgrade the meters to census to get satellite reads, so they will be a lot more precise, a lot quicker. If customers call us and say, why is my water bill high? We actually can tell what days and at what time they
When
consumed
it
a lot of
happened.
water.
Wow.
If there's constant usage and that could indicate a toilet running, we can tell you that.
Wow. So if you had a rental property, you could say, hey, you got this going on, there's some water going somewhere, you may want to check into it.
Yes.
And I thought that was pretty amazing that they could have that.
Yeah, so that is in
Capability.
the works, hopefully,
Yeah.
in the near future.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you for joining the team. I know the council folks and Kevin, they're all excited about you getting to the bottom of everything that's ever happened here.
We're working on it.
Yeah. Well,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor Reiner? Pastor Reiner? We have Pastor Reiner from Maranatha Church. He is nursing a tooth. We got him out here anyway, though. He said, I'm not going to miss it. But thank you, Pastor.
Would you pray with me? Thank you, Lord, for being here tonight with us. We know where we are, you are. Thank you for our city and those officials that help to run this city to make it a better place for our families and friends. Thank you, Lord, for our city as a whole. Lord, I thank you. It's been a wonderful journey of 50 plus years, many years that I've been here, 70 years that I've been here. And Lord, I thank you for it. And I enjoy to see the things that you've done through those that are working with you. Please be with us tonight. Bless us. Keep a good spirit in our hearts and in our minds. And we ask it all in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
All right. Yes. All right, we're good? Okay, if everyone will stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, guys, thanks for coming out, and welcome to our second annual State of the City address. So this council and staff understand and never dismiss what our veterans have done for us and continue to do for our city. That's why, you know, when we're honoring people, I always feel the need to honor our veterans first. We understand that, that without these guys, you know, some of these conversations wouldn't be had. Our city, our democracy may not exist. So that's why we honor our heroes through our Hero of the Month recognition, our Freedom Rings parade and celebration, and our new Veterans Park. So thank you to the heroes in attendance tonight, along with Sergeant Matthew Waters. Where's Sergeant Waters? If you'll stand up. Sergeant Waters is a true American hero. And, you know, if you ask him, you're not going to get that, okay? Very humble. But Sergeant Waters is our honorary Grand Marshal for this year's Freedom Rings Parade. So we wanted to come have him here. And we also are going to recognize Sergeant Waters as a Hero of the Month. So that'll be coming up as well. Thank you. Next, I'd like to thank the citizens of the city of Rankin that trust in this council to do the right thing, to move the city in the right direction. This council is hard. They do a good job. They work hard, and it's a thankless job because you can do 1,000 things right and one thing wrong, and everybody's mad. So, you know, I appreciate the fact that these guys are just constantly taking a beating and getting up and smiling the next day. I would also like to thank the city staff here, led by City Manager Mr. Robbie Byrd. These employees show up every day committed to making this city a better place to live and work. So thank you guys for being here, and you know, thank you for everything you do for us. I want to thank Blake Stevenson for attending from the office of Congressman Buddy Carter. Blake, there you go. I want to thank our county commission chairman, Mr. Damon Ron. A lot of golf cart conversations that got us here. And also Commissioner Forrest Floyd and County Manager Tim Callanan. Thank you guys for coming. The sheriff just sent me a text. He said, can't make it, had a bad accident today, I'm pouring sweat, but I'm going home to watch it. So I want to thank him through Facebook because I know he's watching right now. I also want to thank Dr. Witt and our Effingham Health System leaders that are in attendance tonight. Dr. Witt, Antoine. Our Chamber of Commerce CEO, Ms. Susan Kraut, and her team is focused on our local economy. Our YMCA director, Ms. Regina Klontz. Where are you at? No? Ms. Kim Dennis, our Effingham County director with the United Way, that assists our community when there's nowhere else to turn. Thank you, Ms. Dennis. So with all that being said, you know, I want to say that our city, we're going to need unity. And that's what we're showing here tonight is unity. And the community is going to need that to overcome the obstacles of growth. The growth here is insane. If you didn't think it would happen, we're, I don't know what, 10 miles, 15 miles from the third largest port in the United States. So we're going to have it. It's going to happen. Or either it's going to skip us and then everybody's going to drive through here to get to it. So we've got to figure out how to embrace it and how to get our state and federal leaders to back us, to give us the infrastructure that we need to handle it. So one of the things I want to, well, I just want to tell you all this first. I sweat. Brad, he was telling me earlier, man, you pouring sweat. I sweat all the time. If I'm coaching and it's 40 degrees, I'm wearing shorts. So, but anyway, don't get distracted. I'm not that nervous. But anyway, what I want to say is I work for the city of Savannah as the Fleet Services Director. And, you know, right now we are working on a strategic plan for next year and the rest of this year. Our city manager, Jay Melder, he keeps reminding us through this statement, the one thing that just, it sticks with you every time. And every time he says it, you know, I want to repeat it. And the other day, he gave us a pen that had GPS on it. And it means a lot because, you know, I'm going to steal it first. But it's great public service starts with great public servants. And I mean, that just rings true if you think about the people that are in this room right now. Law enforcement, fire, elected officials that get up and honestly do this for nothing. I mean, if you think about the dollars, it's nothing. But it's passion to make sure that your city goes in the right direction. So, like I say, that is probably one of the truest statements I've ever heard, is great public service starts with great public servants. So while I started thinking about the points that I wanted to make tonight, my mind keeps drifting to, there's been so many plans. Everything that this council looks into, there was a plan for that. We call EMC, and Doug says, oh yeah, we had plans for that 10 years ago. But what I will say is a plan without action is dead when there's no action. So it's just a plan. So some of the best ideas ever are probably sitting in a notebook somewhere, stuffed away in a drawer. Or in someone's mind that never had the community fulfillment or confidence to put those things into action. Well, not this council. This council is result-oriented. They're going to beat you up. They're going to make people mad. It's what they do, and it's been like that since the election. It has not slowed down. So moving the needle on amenities and necessities within our city, building relationships with our county instead of walls. We've had some bad conversations about our county relationship with our city. You guys can see that's no longer here. These guys are sitting here. We know that, they're going to talk to us. We're going to talk to them. We're going to start making meetings that matter, having conversation whenever we do things. We're starting to interact now. Damon and I have interacted for a while. Both of us had a plan to get to where we are now. And it was a crazy plan, riding on the golf cart, and we're out campaigning, and he said, man, when I get there, this is what we're going to do. I said, hey, when I get there, this is what we're going to do. So now we're here, and I called him and said, hey, you think we can do that? And, but we got the people, yes. Yeah, and if I can't, I'll tell you. So anyway, the old arguments and that same old stuff is dead and gone now. So that's not going to be a part of what we do. And of course, our commissioners should want to see the largest municipality. Go ahead. Should want to see the largest municipality in the county grow and expand, not stagnant and struggling. So that's another positive. And guide this ship. Oh. Turns out that's the one working. Oh, this is the one working. Well, it's fine. Well, this one just come back on, so I'm good. Yeah. So, finally, we have a council that understands what you pay for, okay? Finance. Wonderful hire. I can't tell you, I was on council in 2008, and Hadassah was, a person like Hadassah was nowhere to be found. So now you get some, and they say, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong. We got to fix this. And you realize just how bad you were, okay? So, bringing her in is a wonderful hire. Robbie's got everybody kind of going in the right direction now. And so with these additions and the awesome staff that we got, we are going to be successful sooner than later, okay? We've made some decisions with this staff to ensure that money we spend is well spent. The money we obtain, which is kind of crazy to say out loud, but it's placed in the correct accounts, which gives our city the most return on investment. Kind of sounds like a no-brainer, but that's not what was happening, okay? So, you know, a little later, I'll discuss our financial shortcomings and what we're doing to correct them. And there's something that I want to address too, because hard time and not saying what I want to say about it. So I had someone in the room here tell me not too long ago, he said, you know, I overheard this conversation about Rankin being in turmoil. And that's so far from the truth. It's crazy. There's no turmoil. Every Band-Aid that we pull back in this city needed stitches. So it wasn't somewhere where we could go in and dab it, you know, put some medicine on it and it go away. It needed stitches. And I'm going to say this, it's not necessarily the fault of the others that served. It's just a new vision for our future. It's a new set of eyes looking at the same problems. We're looking at the same problems that those guys looked at, but we are looking at it with urgency. So, you know, sitting here bashing the guys that were here before, they got us to this point. It was a stepping stone to get us to where we are now. And now we have taken the ball and we're running with it. And if people don't get out of the way, we're just going to keep running. So trusting the leadership that Mr. Byrd and his staff has been real special to watch. Watching him interact, watching him get things done. You know, when you call him, okay, got it. Man, this tree is over here on these people's property. 10 minutes later, somebody said, oh, there's somebody out here cutting a tree down. Just amazing. So, you know, I can think of a few better words other than turmoil for the city of Rankin. Maybe thriving is one of them. Forward movement is another one. Vision. I see vision. Giving back. Wise, transparent, community-oriented, and ownership. I could just keep going on, but those are things that I see when I think about what these guys do and the conversations we have until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. My wife tells me, she said, you are married to that city. Because every night I'm on the phone. Every night somebody different is calling me about another problem. But that's what I signed up for. So I feel like this council is getting out in front. Those phone calls are going to slow down because we're going to get so far out in front of it, we're going to take care of it before they decide to call. So I'm hoping that, or else I'll be asking someone in the city, can I live with them? So I'm going to get to, where's this thing? So look at that guy. There he is. So I wanted to start to kick off our State of the City talking about, you know, our police department. So we'll start with our police department and just kind of go through some things. And we had an opportunity to sit down with Chief Merle, and just some of the stuff that he, you know, that he said, some of the statistics was shocking. One, our department had 13,079 calls in 2024. 178 of those calls were domestic, okay? And I started thinking about what I was typing here, and I said, you know, those things can change in a second. You're on the scene, next thing you know, the person that's mad comes up behind you. You know, anything could happen. But one thing I will say, under his leadership and his guys, his leaders, every guy made it home after every shift. Every officer showed up at home after his shift with no major injuries. So that's a testament to what these guys do. And then you think about these numbers. We had 250 arrests, 1,400 citations, and we had 2,924 warnings. So when people start looking at our city, they think, gosh, these guys are just trying to make a budget, so they're pulling people over. 2,924 warnings. So I would say that probably not. Now, you're not going to feel that way if you got a ticket. If you got a ticket. But you know, but I just start thinking about that number, and I mean, it's almost double, you know, for the warnings that we gave in our city versus the tickets that we gave. So those guys are not out there to try to hem you up. They just want to slow you down and follow the rules. It's also a testament to this council. I'm going to just kind of go through some of these pictures. I can't forget to do this. And so some of these pictures are just people that work within our police department. This is also a testament to this council for providing necessities to them to do their job. This council just approved a budget amendment that we were going to miss out on if we didn't act on it. So that's the reason why we did the amendment for a 5-year contract to replace body cams, cameras, and tasers, dash cams. And you know, so there was a lot of searching that went in through that to make sure that we were getting the right deal. And at the end, you know, at the 3rd year of this contract, one of the things that Chief Merle said is we're going to get all the cameras, all the body cameras are going to be replaced after the 3rd year. So if there's anything that's upgraded through that 3 years, we're going to get the upgrade. And then after 5 years of the contract, we're going to turn around and get the tasers and dash cameras swapped out. So a really good deal. But we also had an officer, was it Gallagher, that got the grant. Sergeant Estes. Sergeant Estes, he has started just finding money for the city, finding money for the police department. So right now he is, if we get the last one done, it's like $35,000. I think he'll be up to $170,000 in grant money that he has gotten for the city on his own. He just went out and got it. This camera thing, he got $56,000. And you think, well, $56,000 is not a lot of money when you're talking about an $800,000 contract over 5 years. But yeah, it is, because we could have not cared and not got it. So our chief and council have implemented a capital plan for, here's some of our guys, chief's office. Somebody was taking pictures of this because I think he had something up there that he wasn't supposed to have. But anyway, this is some of our officers. And, but our chief and council have implemented a capital plan for vehicle replacement, along with a preventive maintenance plan to ensure our officers are properly equipped to respond to calls in a timely manner. Rankin Police Department currently has an average response time of 3 to 4 minutes. I guess 3 to 4 minutes. We have 7 of 9 flock cameras active right now. So I don't know what you guys know about flock cameras, but me and a friend of mine thought that we were going to leave the house and drive around in a vehicle that had no tag, and we were just test driving this old truck. So we drive all the way around Old Augusta, back around, and next thing you know, we're getting pulled over. And I was like, what'd you do? I didn't do nothing. So they pull us over. Guy says, hey, need to see your license. Neither one of us got a wallet. We were standing in the yard. We just drove the vehicle. So I was like, well, you ain't gonna believe this, but I like to sell cars. So I got a dealer's license. And he said, yeah, sure. So he said, we got you on the flock camera at the end of Chimney Road. So that flock camera picked that truck, that tag up that was on there that wasn't my tag. It was a purchase. And he said, okay, there is no registration on this, and there's no up-to-date registration, and there's no insurance on this vehicle or whatever. And they were told to pull us over, follow us and pull us over. So we talked our way out of it. I called Jimmy on the phone. I said, hey, one of your guys is about to arrest me. And I just need you to tell him who I am. So that was going to cost me a lot. But but those flock cameras are proven perfect. What it means for our residents is that you come into our city and you commit a crime, we're going to track you. We had something happen not too long ago, and you hear people say all the time, oh, that's a violation of my rights, until something happens to you. And then it's not a violation. So we had some stuff stolen not too long ago before the city actually had flock cameras. We hadn't installed any of them, and we had something stolen, and Chief Merle and them were able to track that vehicle to where? Miami, and make the arrest. So all the way down 95, they just kept tracking this vehicle, and then they got him. So you can't hardly run from these cameras. You can't get away from them. So, if you're not doing anything wrong, then why would you be mad about having them? If you're concerned about your safety, your family's safety, then obviously you want them. So some more pictures here. High country. So anyway, the Rankin Police Department has partnered with Effingham County Board of Education as well to employ 2 full-time resource officers with vehicles and equipment with assisted funding from the Board of Education. So we also have 2 officers that they provide 75% of the funding for with trucks and everything else, and those guys are, they pay for that at the 2 schools that we have here. Soon to be 3 possibly. So. The department currently has 28 sworn law enforcement positions, 5 civilian positions, and then we have 6 vacancies right now, right? We're in the process of hiring 4. So, you know, we've got a couple officers here. Obviously, from outside to in here, I forget people's names. But I will tell you that, you know, alternative measures, restraint, professionalism has prevailed in recent years when it comes to this great department. And I'm going to tell you guys, there's been a couple of situations where you watch these cop shows on TV and you see these guys shoot someone or whatever. Our guys have had every opportunity to do those things in about 3 or 4 situations, and they chose another direction. So that's a plus for me. It could have gotten really bad. I think we had one here in Ace Hardware. And we wrestled a guy down with a gun, took the gun from him, and we didn't have to do that, you know. He endangered the lives of these guys when he had the gun on him and pulled it. But instead of going the wrong direction, our officers took care of it. So, you know, yeah, they're here. And, you know, we just appreciate that. All right. Fire. Lou Reed, our chief. Our fire department's made up of 11 full-time firefighters and 5 part-time firefighters that save lives and are absent from their home and their loved ones. So fire is currently budgeted for 13 full-time firefighters, and now they have 2 vacancies. So our chief's actively recruiting for that. Thank you. The department, our fire department ran 2,340 calls in 2024, with 62% of those calls being medical. So, you know, doing this the other day, we talked about it and we were like, gosh, you know, we have a fire every now and then. And most of our fires come from us assisting. So we don't have a lot of fires, so we have a lot of medical. And that's what happens here. So I think as the county moves the ambulance service into Rankin, that'll take some of the pressure off of these guys from, you know, getting on those calls. But, you know, that results in a daily call out for service at 6.4 calls per day. Okay, the average response time for these guys is 2.5 minutes. He gives them 1 minute to get out of the firehouse and get on the road. The national response time average is 4 minutes. So I think that's pretty good. And I think it's, you know, I think he holds them to a high standard, and that's where we are. So I know he's made some calls for me where he drove the ambulance when somebody fell out. So he, you know, Chief Reed does what it takes. The department keeps 5 personnel on duty per day, along with the chief. Our response includes 2 engines and a ladder for every residential. And then we have 3 engines and a ladder for commercial. We're currently ISO Class 2 rated fire program, which does a little bit to help your homeowners. I don't know what the math is to that, but I know it helps. I think we tried to figure that out not too long ago. But fire has recently hired, we'll kind of go through. Right now, I think we're still tracking over at Saywan, the new plan in town. So we have a person out there every day and a truck out there every day until their fire suppression system is back up. You know, fire recently hired 2 new fighters out of the academy that are currently being introduced into in our standard operating procedures. And these are those 2 young men right here. And we look forward, and just talking to them about just getting out and just getting out of school, you know, and what they want to do and what they want to be is just amazing. Great smile, always happy. And we look forward to those guys right there being seasoned firemen one day. And I know that being in there and listening to some of the things that were said, that they're getting trained the right way. So here's just some pictures here that we have of those guys in the firehouse. Oh, look at there. Same look on his face. So we'll move over to finance, because finance is the sore subject, and it has been for years with Rankin. Again, with the addition of the city manager, it opened the door to hire a very strong finance director, Ms. Hadassah, and wonderful job she's doing. She's not only put a great team in place, but added the correct structure to our finance department that was needed to correct waste, improper accounting procedures, return on investment opportunities, as well as locating accounts that we didn't even know that we had. So, which is kind of shocking. It's every time you pull back something, that was a good one. We pulled back that Band-Aid, we found $1.4 million that was going through a bill pay account that was sitting in Truist Bank. And Hadassah found it. It wasn't something that they sent in the mail to us. It was just every time somebody paid a water bill through bill pay, it went into an account in Truist, and nobody knew about it because there was nobody left there from the past. So she finds it, pulls up, sees that there's a balance there of $1.4 million. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you, Hadassah. But on the other side of it, we couldn't touch it because nobody had their name on it. Nobody in the city that worked there could get the money because nobody was, we didn't have anybody present. Here's just a few items that Hadassah and her team have tackled in a short tenure. So since January 1, 2025, and I'm gonna need my glasses for this. She's made significant strides in addressing historical financial challenges and implementing key operational improvements. These changes were necessary to restore the integrity of the city's financial records, strengthening internal controls, enhance transparency, and modernize our service delivery to both internal departments and our community. We will now have a full year of reserves and a separate interest-bearing account that will have an SOP. So we'll know when we can use it, how we can use it, and that money will be an interest-bearing account. And so some of the words that we heard was, well, they're spending all the money in Rankin. Well, there was a lot of money in Rankin because nobody was spending it. If you looked at the condition of the parks and all those things, our obligation is to give that back. Our obligation's not to, the city is not a savings account. That's not what the city is. The city owes the residents a proper place to live. And so, with that being said, everybody's like, oh, well, they're spending all the money. There's going to be no reserves. And next thing you know, the city's going to be broke. Well, Ms. Hadassah will make sure that $25 million goes into an interest-bearing account, which should draw about $70,000 a month in interest that will be there with an SOP. So the city is firm. The city of Savannah has 6 months. That's all they have. They have a 6-month reserve. If they didn't make a dime, they could cover themselves. Well, our city manager said, "No, I don't want 6 months." He said, "I want a year." So we're going to pull out a year. We're going to put that in an interest-bearing account, and then we're going to let that sit there. And then we'll figure out what we do with that interest that comes off of it and how we spend it to better our community. Okay, so that's about $70,000 a month. So that's a pretty big, return on investment there. But the report that Hadassah gave me outlines some of the improvements, and I'm going to kind of read through some of those because this is the biggest part of the failures in the city of Rankin. And like I said, it's not the failures of the past council or the past mayor. What it is it's the fact that, tired eyes don't look as far. So when you get new people in with new ideas and people that are still working and are still sharp in their day-to-day business, you start seeing all types of things. So one of the things that she's going to do, and she's got them listed here, and I wouldn't expect anything different from her to have this perfect. So bank reconciliation and audit preparation. And we're kind of doing that in collaboration with a third-party person that we had hired before Hadassah came on. But Hadassah's heading it up. This lady is finishing up. So just to tell you, we had not reconciled 23 or 24. So, you know, we knew we had money, and we knew that there was money in this account that owed this account money, but we never moved it, okay? So now Hadassah's seeing those things. We are right now finishing up 23 and 24, and then we'll turn that over to the audit. And right now, Hadassah is working on 2025, reconciling accounts in 2025 to make sure that once 23 and 24 are done, that she is on target for 25. So the purpose of this is to address long-standing gaps in reconciliation that began back in 2023. I'm not so sure that some of those things didn't happen prior to 2023, okay? So I'll move into number 2, audit readiness. Timely audits are essential for transparency, regulatory compliance, and maintaining public trust. So we have to be ready for these audits. And on top of that, we can't request a grant. We can't do anything like that unless we're caught up on our audits. Come on in, sir. Have a seat. We got you a seat right there. Mr. Buddy Carter, Congressman. Glad to have you, sir. I know you just got off the plane. I appreciate you being here. Glad to be. Yep. No, not starting over. No, I'll just give him the book. Yeah. So anyway, getting back into it, number 3, she put down daily revenue recording. That was not happening. The purpose of that is to ensure accurate revenue tracking, eliminate discrepancies, and improve the efficiency in our daily financial operation. So all the money that was being taken in, she is now reconciling that. We changed the time. If you guys notice, we changed the time on City Hall opening in the morning. It opens at 8:30 now. But the people are there at 8. So they're reconciling in the morning instead of being there at 6 o'clock in the afternoon and by themselves with nothing going on. So we let them lock everything down, and then the next morning they come in, they do their reconciliation from 8 to 8:30. There's people there, there's people in the city, things are moving. So, you know, that was a safety issue as well. ERP system enhancement, that was another thing that she done. The notification system will improve communications with residents, and I think you talked about that a while ago. Text-to-pay service. It'll also notify whenever, it's like a geo-fence. So she can pick out a neighborhood. So instead of sending something to everybody in the city of Rankin that says, hey, there's a pipe broken on 9th Street, she can take and put it in just the area that's affected and geofence that so you don't have 900 people contacting you from Macomber side saying, why is my water off? Why is, you know, so it just kind of streamlines that process and makes it right. And then all emergency communication between the city and the residents will happen there. Number 5, utility billing, collection improvements. That was another big thing that we had. Our utility billing wasn't done right. You heard her touch on a little bit of that. People would go past their cutoff date and their water would never get cut off. So why would I pay my bill? My water's not getting cut off. So now we have a different tracking system for that. And I think just talking to Hadassah, you and Robbie the other day, there was a system that they had in Pooler that we're going to start looking at that is, you can look at usage. So, and this is great because I ran into this. My water bill jumped to like $400 one month. And I was like, what happened? and got a plumber in there, nothing. No leak, nothing running, so started looking into it. Well, now, with the new system that we're going to be looking at, that system will actually let a customer know, a resident know, if your usage is changing. So if you have a leak and it looks abnormal, that system will let these guys know, and then these guys will let the resident know that, hey, you got a problem at your house, you need to get checked out now because your bill's about to skyrocket. So, but those are just some of the small things. Improving customer service, automated process that we're going to be looking at doing will ensure that we enforce our utility billing and collections process. So, number 6, employee benefit enhancement. Now, this is something that kind of threw me off. But then I started thinking about it. The city is now offering pet insurance. So you say, pet insurance? Why would you have pet insurance for your employees? Well, I want you to think about how much that saves you with a $250 deductible. When you take your dog to the vet, you go there, it's always over $250. So if you pay that one-time fee, then I think, Hadassah, you were telling me it was 70%? 70% of the bill after that. So it's, most everybody has an animal, and they love them like a child. So this is another thing that we're going to implement that she's brought into the city of Rankin. And the purpose of that is to enhance employee wellness and provide additional financial benefits, supporting recruitment and retention efforts. I know that I had to double take when they said pet insurance, and then I thought, you know what? I just spent like $2,000 putting my dog to sleep. So a lot of money, and with the pet insurance, it wouldn't have happened like that. So go back. I think we got one more here. Credit card implementation and policy development. I don't think that there was a problem with credit cards, but you guys see the news, you see what's happening all over. People's got city credit cards, and they go buy something here or there, get it mixed up with their card, use it. Hadassah is bringing that, implementing that policy and changing that so that we establish a clear expectation and ensure accountability when it comes to the credit cards for the city. Amazon, everybody's purchasing from Amazon. I'd have never thought that we would have had to build a policy in the city for Amazon purchasing, but everybody buys coffee and everything else from Amazon, so we had to enact a Amazon purchasing policy. And it's to control spending, make sure that unauthorized purchases are not made, and ensure proper oversight for all the online transactions that's going on. Bank account review and consolidation, and a payment process update. She is, the purpose of this is to streamline payment processing and improve efficiencies, ensure timely, accurate deposit of funds. Now we know what account the money's going into. Now we know what the interest is on that account. Those are things that we take for granted, and people think, I know the city's got that taken care of. But every time you have turnover, those type of things happen. You find out that other people's names on things, and it just happens at no fault. But she's working on those internal controls, and I think she's definitely going to get us there, and she'll be giving us updates. We have a senior copy service that we have now. So anybody that's 65 years old with an ID, you come in, you get free copies, and I know that might not mean nothing to anybody, but I can tell you that buying printer ink is expensive. So if you think about somebody that's on a fixed income, and they can come up and get some things printed off at City Hall, and it's on us, it's a good thing. I had somebody tell me the other day, how in the world did we go up 30% on our garbage fees, right? Well, there's a couple things there. First thing, the positive thing is that we are in line a little less than what the county's paying, a little bit less than what Port Wentworth is paying. So we're in line with everybody on our garbage rate. But whenever I was on in 2018, we wrote an RFP that enabled us to not have an increase for 5 years. So the residents of Rankin had 5 years with no increase in trash service. So I thought that was a really positive thing. Well, with this increase comes, if you are 65 years old, I think you have to come in to City Hall. But if you come in and you bring a valid ID, your rate goes back to where it was. So your rate does not change if you are 65, okay? It stays where it was. You just have to come in and fill out that paperwork. I think there's something online, but if you'll go in City Hall, talk to Hadassah, one of the girls up front, they can get you set up with that, and then that price will go back down. So I wanted to make sure that I got that out tonight, because a lot of people will just continue, 65 plus will continue to pay the rate that it's at right now, and that's not what we want. So, we also created a tree fund, and that's something that we didn't have. One of the biggest things that people talk about all the time is they've taken away the trees, city don't look like it used to look. So now we're going to make you pay for those trees. So if you take those trees, you're going to pay for those trees. It's going to go into a tree account, and we're going to use that to buy trees. So if you're a warehouse and you come in and you clear our land, we're going to expect you to replace those trees so many per acre. And I think that's 16 trees per acre, maybe, somebody? I think that's what it is. So that's what we're looking for. And if you plant trees, there's no such thing as a legacy pine. So nobody's putting a bunch of pine trees in the ground. So you're going to plant a tree that's worth planting. So that's another thing that we have implemented as a council, that to try to keep our city looking a little bit more like the country, like it used to. We know it's not going to stay like that, but that money will be dedicated for funding for tree preservation, planting efforts within the city. Public notary services, we also offer that at City Hall as well. And that's just, to provide convenience. So anything that you come in and get notarized that goes to the city is a free service. But if you have something that you want to come get notarized, it's $2. The last thing I'm going to talk about with finance is this is some of our girls here. Oh, there's Hadassah, working on saving our money. New hire, great. Oh, she's out, just had a baby. Yep. Little baby was mad the other day in the picture. So that's our team at City Hall. But the biggest thing that I can say here is the city's finance department has implemented a comprehensive change. So we are going to implement change, and we're going to stabilize the finances of our operation. So the finance department and Hadassah remain committed to fiscal responsibility, transparency, and continuous improvement. And I will tell you, in 2018, I was on council. I would not go in and sign a check because nobody could tell me how much money was in the bank for the check that I was about to sign. So I knew we had money, but it was just, hey, if you can't tell me how much money's in the bank, I'm not signing your check. So I didn't sign checks for 2 years because nobody could ever tell me how much money. We never got a report, ever got a financial report. Hadassah brings that to the table. So now, when we have our council meetings, we'll actually get those reports. And I feel like that we are on our way with finance. And that was the longest one, guys, but if y'all can, give Hadassah a round, and we appreciate you. Wastewater treatment plant, Mr. Tommy Key. One of his employees walking around with me. But so the plant's operated by our director, Tommy Key, and there's 2 other employees out there. And I want to quote our city manager. The first time he went out, he said, he went to the water treatment plant, and he says, "It's the cleanest plant I've seen, along with one of the best operations I've ever seen." That's a lot coming from somebody who was in one place for 21 years that understood how all that worked, that has an engineering background. And those were the things that I was hoping that he would go out and, we wouldn't he wouldn't come back and say, oh my gosh, it's falling apart, you got to do something. But he went out there, and this is our water treatment plant that sits on the back of the golf course. And it is one of the cleanest places that you will see. And Tommy runs a very tight ship over there. The process of how all that works, we have a gravity-fed system. So he is telling me there how water feeds down, and then it goes into there, and then it goes out to the pond, and it sprays. And I mean, it's a unique situation, you know, over there and how everything works. But one thing that I want to say about that is in 2020, I had a mayoral debate with Mayor Lee. And Mayor Lee brought it up in 2020, and he said, we are about at capacity. So we've got to do something. That was in 2020. So now, fast forward, it's 2025, and it's on our plate to handle. So we're handling it. So in 2020, we were at 750,000 gallons, and that is basically at the upgrade threshold. So we hit it in 2020, making about 75% of our permitted volume is what we were doing a day. Again, this is another item that we had to address, because now we sit at 85% of volume. So now the bells are going off, and we've got to do something. So scared to death. We were going to put it out to bid. We were going to find out how much it was going to cost. The plan that our old council had was to completely change our plant to a less efficient plant that was prone to have more issues when problems arise. So they wanted to go to a different, instead of a gravity-fed plant, they wanted to go to a pump-type system, and it was not something that would, you know, that would work. If you have a pump go out, your system's down. If you don't have a backup, you got a problem. So when Robbie went out and looked at it, he said, man, I don't think that we need to change that plant. And he said, there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way to do this without, he said, this thing's going to cost a bunch of money. Well, I didn't know how much it cost to upgrade a plant. Had no idea. He said, Kevin, this thing's going to come in around $40 million. He said, where are we going to get $40 million, you know? Well, we had a grant. So the plan for the previous group was to get a plan that they would get a grant for about 50% of that $40 million is what we thought it was. And then basically what that would do was give us 1 million more gallons of volume that we could take on. So we put it out to bid, all that come back, and it was between $32.5 and $35 million. So Robbie was dead on the money with that, because we know that there's going to be change orders in the middle of this thing. So we were going to get to $40 million. So he said, I'm not sold on this plant. I'm not sold on, he said, I am not going to be the city manager that walks in and spends every dime of the city's money. I'm not going to bankrupt the city. So at that point, we knew we had 50% that we had in a grant that would cover it. So he's not willing to do that, put the financial strain on us. So he thought about a plan B. So went to some other engineers and talked to them and said, hey, is it possible that we upgrade this plant? Is it possible that we can upgrade it and get us by some more time? He went to the guy that gave us the bid of $35 million and said, hey, can you upgrade this plant and not build a new one? He said, can't be done. So we're back at, okay, we're at $40 million again. He goes and talks to another group that comes back and says, absolutely, we can do it. He said, we can give you an additional $300,000 to $500,000 a day with the money that you have right now in your grant. And on top of that, we can also add water reuse pipes and pump that, get a system set up for water reuse where we can move that water off and create more volume for us to be able to control. So we obviously went with Plan B. And that right now is something over the next probably 5-8 years, we are going to be able to implement, just during construction, a one-time fee when permits are pulled. So, because we never had that. So we were trying to figure out how in the world do we pay for all these upgrades as our city gets bigger, and we just never had the funds to do it, and we never had the opportunity or the forethinking to put a plan in place. Well, now we're putting one in place. We're gonna try to remove some reuse water. We talked to Damon about that. The county may be interested in getting some of the reuse water. It's easy for us to pipe it to them and get it out. We in our purple pipe plan, every company, every neighborhood that comes in that's built now, they have to put in purple pipe. So we're thinking that, we're going to do a test run probably on one of the holes at Lost Plantation where we pull water, reuse water, and people use that for irrigation. So we're working on a couple other plans, but the whole thing is managing Plan B, and the fact that our city manager came up with that. So he made his salary in about 3 days. So, and I really appreciate him for that. So Public Works. This is an area, guys, where we knew that we had a problem. We had to address it early, and we addressed it. So our department was heading in the wrong direction. We did a spend analysis and determined that we were spending $1.4 million a year in Public Works. The place over there was not organized, no 5S, it looked bad. And we didn't really have a schedule for anything in the city. So we started talking, and our city manager said, well, what do you think about this? I said, I don't know, present it to council. So when he presented to council to sub out our Public Works, council said, what about the people? We started thinking about the employees that was here. So that was the first thing we got jumped on about was, they're getting rid of tenured employees. So council went out and said, no, you need to hire all of our employees. So council put together a plan, city manager put together a plan, and went and put it out and said, look, we want to make sure that you hire 100% of our employees. You pay them the same, if not more, than what they were making. And then anybody that has over 5 years in tenure will remain vested, and they will be able to retire with that money. So we were in danger of a lot of bad things happening in our Public Works department. So we came in, and EOM said, we'll do it for $915,000. We'll take over everything to do with the city. Now, mind you, that city council had just been given, because we've got some people here that believe in beautification and think that our city should look appropriate. So grass wasn't being cut, things wasn't being edged on 21. We were upset about that. We didn't like the way our city was looking. So at that point, we asked to put it out to bid to have someone come in and do our lawn service. Our lawn service quote came back just for 21 in Fort Howard at $375,000 a year. So we were like, man, we can buy some lawnmowers for that. That's a lot of lawnmowers, so we cut our own grass. And but EOM come in and said, oh, that's part of our deal. That's part of the $915,000 is cutting all those areas and green spaces and common areas. And so that took care of that. Then they get in, and one of the things that Robbie schooled me on is he said, Kevin, you're going to find out that there's a lot of pump issues here. There's a lot of lift station issues here that they're going to find. So he went to council, told council, hey, don't look at the $915,000 the first year, because it's going to cost us some more money to fix what we've got, without even knowing that we were in that situation. So EOM got in the door. The first thing they did was clean up the place. After cleaning up the place, they went out and started checking bypass pumps. Not one bypass pump in the city worked at all. So we didn't have any bypass pumps working. And most of the lift stations were in danger of failing. So these guys are putting together something right now so that we can get all those things done. But, you know, we were in danger of failing miserably when it comes to that. But EOM's putting together, not only are they doing these things, but they're putting together a maintenance schedule for the city's preventative maintenance. And one of the things that, you know, every time somebody hears the word equitable, they start thinking, oh my gosh, it's this, it's that. Equitable in a city means that you spend the money, you spend the taxpayers' money the right way. So we said, let's do the city in a quadrant, and then let's set up a schedule to where we're over here, and we're over here, and we're over here, and we're up here, and we take care of our residents, and we have a schedule for each one of those locations. So equity to me means that we spend the same amount of money and the same amount of time fixing things over by Macomber as we do over in Lost Plantation. So we want to make sure that, that those schedules are out and people see them, and that we are equitable with those schedules. But the big thing is drainage, ditch clearing. It's been terrible. So we started, we're about to start on 9th Street. 9th Street will be paved. We've got a plan going on there that we've actually piggybacked on the county. That was something that never happened. We had a meeting and Tim Callanan said, hey, why don't we buy all the product together and get the same vendor if we're touching on the same road? Why wouldn't we do that? Well, before it was because these are my roads and those are the county roads, and this is where we're going to stop. So we don't want to do business with them. So it was crazy because when you buy material, you buy it for the whole road. You know, so we ended up doing that using the same vendor. I think 9th Street will be a part of that first project that we do with the county to pave that. But in riding, city manager and I rode down 7th Street and we started looking, and 7th Street's drainage is just terrible. We dug the ditches out and didn't clean the pipes out. So I don't really understand that. It's not going to flow through the pipe. So anyway, so now EOM is implementing that schedule and that plan moving forward so that, but these are just some pictures. And I will tell you, it was funny because Robbie and I were talking the other day, and Robbie said the first thing I did when I walked in there into Public Works was seen a dartboard and recliners. There's no dartboards and recliners here, okay? So things are changing, and they're changing for the best. All right, my favorite, recreation. Recreation's probably one of the biggest things that, for me, you know, I opened up an academy a while back. I have a son that plays college baseball. I have a daughter that played high school. You know, coached them all the way up from 9U to where they are. Some of those coaches are back there in the back that coached with me. Passion, okay? I would go out to these parks, and Macomber Park looked the same as it looked when I used to play and go hit out there when I was in my 20s. And so I used to play softball, and so I would go out to Macomber and hit whenever I was in town with people, and it was the same way. And then, you know, a few years later, we're going to say how many years later, we go back out there, and Macomber looks the same. It's you know, it was bad. So most important department for me, and now this city has got it functioning like a top. DJ has it functioning like a top. I told everybody when he walked in the door the first time, I said, this guy right here can manage recreation, and you can forget about it. You can walk away from it. Okay, I think we had last year, we had 2 tournaments or 3 tournaments out there. This year we're slated to have 20 tournaments. Nobody has any clue until you are part of ball when you go out and you have a tournament where there's 75 teams. So you think about that, 75 teams, there's at least 12, 13 kids per team. Then you've got all of their parents, and all those people come into your town to spend money. And we have went to some bad places. I mean, Cordell, Georgia. I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere. You can't find anything to eat. You know, you're parking out in the woods, stuff's biting you. But there's 100 kids there every weekend playing softball. And so we wanted to do something here in conjunction with what the county was doing. So we wanted to, you know, give our recreation department a facelift. So DJ has 4 full-time employees over there. He's got 10 part-time employees. A couple of them are out here tonight to assist in day-to-day. Council has injected over $1 million into the revitalization of that park, okay? And it deserved it. You can't operate it giving them, you know, $50,000 a year and then giving them a little bit of money off of the fair, you know, and saying, hey, go buy some new uniforms or something like that. You can't do that. You got to invest money in it. So the vision for these upgrades go back to 2020 mayoral race. Sitting right in that room up there, I said, man, we got to spend some money on recreation. It's got to happen. Because between the hours of 4 and 9 at night is the worst time for a student to get into trouble if they don't have anything to do. So the one thing that I can say is when I had 50 or 75 of them in the academy playing ball, I knew they were all there. You know, we can work out the bad mouth and the stuff that they say in there, but they were there. Same way with this park. We redone all of the batting cages. We've got instructors out there. We've got people out there, you know, until 9:30 at night, and kids got somewhere to go. So when they're doing that, they're staying out of trouble. They're staying out of trouble. These are a couple of the guys that work there. But either way, 20 tournaments. These are some of the improvements that we did. We put sheltering over the new sheltering over. We redone the backstops back there, blocked those in on the old field, created a better area. We put concrete all the way around it. I don't know how much concrete we poured, but it was a lot. So this is kind of what it looks like now. And these are our cages that we have. And I will tell you, Brandy and I rode over Monday afternoon, and it was people everywhere. Everywhere. There was no tournament. It was recreation ball. And there was people in the cages out back full. Every one of these cages were full. You know, kids that couldn't even see over this table. It was just amazing to see what was going on there. Our next project, this is our team out there. Our next project that we have out there will be working on the playground that's in between the fields. We want to make sure that we get that covered so kids that are playing in there don't get hurt, hit by balls, foul balls. Giles Park will be home to Rankin football. Got some of those guys over here right now. We understand that the Board of Education, the county, they have a lot of teams and they got a lot of stuff going on. And sometimes it's not because they just don't want us there. It's just because there's not room. And so what we have done is we're going to take Giles Park, and that's going to be the home of our Rankin football program, with the addition of girls flag football coming this fall. So DJ just told me that, and I was like, hey, is that a vision? He said, yeah, it's a vision in a couple months. So girls flag football is coming, and you know, I've had some girls that played softball that play it, and they were amazing. But you know, another cool thing is when you get people in our community. Jamie and Mary Kane donated $20,000 cash and said, hey, spend it on Giles Park. When they built their gym, Empire Gym, they came in and said, hey, we had some parking lot lights left. Let's give those parking lot lights to you guys so y'all can have lights there. So we got a donation from these guys, and please give them a round of applause because it's a lot. Got to have God working in your life whenever you open a new business and then turn around and say, hey, I'm going to give this place $20,000. There's got to be something in your head, something. I hadn't found it, but it's something. But yes, yeah, I love you. But anyway, they've embedded themselves, into our community and supported the youth here to no end. They have opened it up for softball, for training girls. You see these kids on there that are going off to play football. I seen one on there not too long ago that you were talking about, going to play college ball, spent time working out with you, as a personal trainer, and now he's going to have a better career because of that. And we're going to have a better field and area because of that. I talked to Councilman Scott. We kind of worked out, there's a community center that's over there. Councilman Scott talked to the people in the community center and said, hey, can we do overflow parking over there? Absolutely. So we're coming together on a lot of things like that to give our kids what they deserve. Anonymous donation for cage lights. We had someone donate LED cage lights. All we got to do is get the poles for them, get the electrical done, and now we've got LED cage lights, as many as we need, to go out there to create our football field. And I think DJ's already working with somebody on the grass and turf out there. He's handling that now. So a lot of great things are happening. We're also pleased to announce groundbreaking for our 85-acre property donated by Mr. Wilson Burns. That'll take place in early 2026. We've got 85 acres kind of across from the YMCA. We're going to take that area and we're going to create a new facility. It's going to be funded by CID dollars, and we're going to start working on that, putting fields out there, making sure that we've got stuff for special needs, just all types of different plans that we have for that property and moving forward. And soon we'll have renderings for that new amenity, and everybody will kind of get to see what the vision is for that. And this will be built to ensure between Clarence Morgan Park and this park that we can handle any large tournament that comes. So if we have a 150 perfect game group come in, which we have right now, that we're doing tournaments for, we can do national tournaments here, and they don't have to go far at all. They're a few miles apart. So those are things that we're looking to do, and we don't have to go outside the county, and hopefully nobody will have to go to Cordele and sit through that to go play in a softball tournament. These were, I get past that. So City Club Golf Course, it's another amenity that we have. There was a vision here. I think Michelle went out there every day because she wanted City Club to thrive. So she was working with what she had. She was trying to figure it out. She was doing everything she could do to make sure that Lost Plantation Golf at the time would be successful. When I got on the council, we had 60 members, and they were leaving. They were walking away. They didn't want to be there. They were driving to Forest Heights. They were going to go wherever they could to get away from that golf course because it wasn't maintained, didn't have anything to eat, no cart person, no nothing. So we brought in, the mayor looked at me and said, well, what do you think? I said, well, the first thing, we need to have a separate superintendent from a clubhouse manager. You can't have a clubhouse manager that manages the golf course, and you can't have a superintendent that manages the clubhouse. So I feel like this is what you got to do. And I learned that from my neighbor, Lynn Childress. So, you surround yourself with resourceful people. So anyway, we get in there, and council said, you know what, we're going to trust you guys to do what your vision. We're going to trust you to go out there and put your vision into place. It was bad. Golf course was bad. I think after, I don't know, Tara, what's it been, a year now? We're a year into it. We now have over 160 members, people calling every day to come out there. We're in the middle of a cart path renovation out there, cart barn renovation, putting in a member area within the old cart barn area. We have so many things going on there right now, and people are still coming out signing up for memberships, okay? And we're not going to stop. It's a great amenity. We just have to embrace it, and we have to make sure this is just a picture of our cart paths going through the woods. Now, I will tell you that there's a lot of people, there's some cranky members. And some of those members will tell you in a heartbeat, I ain't driving my cart down there, I'll just tear your cart up. And I don't blame them, because the way the cart path was, that's what was going on. So not only did we create this, but, in talking to Tara, there was some times where people were told in the past, we're going to arrest you if we catch you out here in the morning walking your dog at 7 o'clock. It's not for walking. So what we want to make sure is that people can come out and do that. Now, we don't suggest you be out there when they start hitting golf balls, okay? But late afternoons, early mornings, it's a great place to walk through those woods. It's beautiful out there. So this is what our clubhouse looks like now. Pretty amazing. So we made the changes there. The course is thriving now. We're gonna go. We've cut some trees out. We've made things look good. We fixed some drainage out there, and we finally have a restaurant there that didn't close down in 3 months. Okay, that's committed to being there. Guys want to work with the community. They pay their bill. We don't have to go searching anymore. You don't get that phone call of, hey, man, we didn't make enough money this month to pay the city, So these guys have made upgrades there, and they work, and they own it, and that's what has to happen. The moment that they came to council and said, we're willing to put $100,000 into the restaurant, we knew they were serious. It wasn't somebody that was saying, I want to use your stuff, and we're going to see if we can make it. Give us 3 months. So the other night I was there, and I think there was 140 people there for bingo. So it was, kind of crazy that it's operating like it is. But again, it's a different vision. The building was there, the course was there, just a different vision on how it should operate. Not a bad plan by the other guys, just different vision. Anyway, tournaments are starting to come back. I ride up there the other day, and all along the front is high school students, pictures hanging, seniors. And I thought, wow, you see that in baseball, you see that in softball, you go into the park, and the girls' pictures and the boys' pictures are on the back of the dugout and fences, and there's a sense of pride. Go into the golf course, and all of our pictures for our seniors are hanging up for our senior golf players. It's a sport, and it's a tough one, because I hadn't figured it out. I can't. So anyway, it's just nice to go out there and see, the middle schools, all out there playing, the high schools playing, and we're going to do something special. And one of the things that one of the coaches told me the other day, he said, hey, Kevin, why don't we try to get the school to go in and put a covered, like we have down at Crosswinds. Why don't we put a covered area there so that they can come and hit if it's raining or whatever? I said, great. So hopefully the old Board of Education will give us a little money. But again, that's this place is amazing. This is what it looks like if you remember before. This is our staging area. Oh goodness. So just some of the, just some of the things that we've done there. We're sodding this area or astroturfing this area right here. Just a great area to come out there and sit and watch golf. Taking down those old trees where you couldn't see down the fairway. Our range now, we're able to hit and, hit off of some good pads there. So a lot of upgrades out there, a lot of things that we're doing, very important to our community. And we thank you, Tara, for what you're doing out there, and Joe as well. I think we're getting right here to the end of it. I don't want to bore you anymore. But we'll talk about planning real quick. Our plan department's led by Ms. Terry Lewis. Oh, here. And she has a couple employees, Ms. Lolly Watley and David Matos there. The department is an integral part of our growing city. 2025 brought the completion of our Unified Development Ordinance, our UDO. That was a collaboration between council, the planning board, and the developer stakeholder group that was created there. The final adoption was in March, and a large portion of 2024 was also spent completing all the updates and the things that and I think Terry was telling me that some of the UDO, some of the things in there have already changed. So it's an ever-changing process, but it's very important because it's something that we had not done for years. So planning and development in 2024, just a few stats here. Building permits issued was 298. Business licenses issued was 674 business license. Site plans approved was 18. Variances reviewed was 3. That's a good thing. We don't want to do a lot of variances. Rezoning reviewed was 6, and we annexed 2 parcels there. And our revenue was 1.1 million through our planning and development there. But with that UDO, obviously we work close with everybody to get those plans into place. And, we were talking about that. I was talking to Terry about that today, and she was talking about the comprehensive plan and the UDO. And we used to piggyback with the county with our comprehensive plan. We always piggybacked on them as something that's got to be done every 5 years. But, Rincon it's an official guiding document for the future of Rincon. So the city of Rincon needed their own documents, their own comprehensive plan, and so that's what we've done. So now you'll be able to go and look at your comprehensive plan and your UDO, all at the same time. You can look at City Hall now, but we'll end up having those online. One of the things that bothered me during this process with the comprehensive plan is one of the guys that was coming here to consult said that Rincon has been considered a pass-through city in between 2 places. So we want to get away from that pass-through city. Okay, we want to change that. We want to slow traffic down in the middle of Rincon. I remember driving as a child in Rincon, and when you left by where Title Max is, that was it. There was nothing there. It was woods all the way to Port Wentworth. And so the speed limit was always 45 miles an hour when you come out of town. Well, now, we're asking and pressing buttons with DOT to see if we can get that speed changed and slow traffic down in the middle of Rincon. My family's been in trucking, was in trucking all their life. But I can tell you that a truck has no place in the fast lane. And when you got one in the fast lane and one in the slow lane, and they're drag racing to the next light, it's about a 5-mile-an-hour drag race. So, those are things that we want to change in Rincon to try to help mitigate some of this, traffic that we have. We're also trying to press forward with talking to our state representatives about their plan for the widening of 21. They want to start it in one place. And, I was talking to Tim Milner about it, and, we were talking about a bottleneck. And, you've got a 2-liter bottle and you got a 20-ounce bottle, but the cap will fit on them the same way, right? Same cap on a 20 will go on a 2-liter. And that's the problem that we're going to have. No matter what we do, all we're going to do is funnel that traffic down to another bottleneck. If you do not take traffic to where it dumps off. And taking traffic to 95 is not where it dumps off. So hopefully we can sit down with DOT and we can shift that plan. If that plan is $68 million, maybe we can say, look, we don't need it to go to 9th Street. Take it to Goshen Road, but get it to Jimmy DeLoach. Because if we get it to Jimmy DeLoach, your traffic dumps off to go to the port, your traffic dumps off to go to Gulfstream on the other side, and now you've got your traffic going forward into Savannah. You don't get a lot of traffic dump off at 95. So looking at it, I think that's what we need to do, or all we're doing is pushing the bottleneck forward. That's all we're doing. So getting that traffic to Jimmy DeLoach dumps it off, and it puts us in a better situation. So hopefully, you know, we can talk through those plans. But we have to do that with everybody. We have to do it with the county. The county has to be on board with what we're on board with. Port Wentworth. We have to go outside of our area and start talking to other people. You know, we've got to negotiate with them. We have to come with one voice and say, look, guys, you're not here every day. I sit in it every single day. It affects my family every single day to sit in that traffic. An hour, sometimes an hour and a half every day trying to get home. And then we're steady building. We can't stop it, okay? It's a machine. You know, once you zone property, it's going to keep coming. But somebody has to help us get the infrastructure built to be able to do it, okay? So when we built the Parkway, I think, Damon, we built the Parkway, and then we had to turn around because after we built it, we didn't finish building it. We're supposed to finish it in September, but it was already, it's going to be overcrowded. So now there's something out there for 2 more lanes to go onto the Parkway. We've got to be able to talk about that stuff. You have to talk to your representatives. I mean, we got some good people up there, but we got to talk to them, and we got to make them listen. And it don't hurt to do that. You know, when they come to our town, you know, it's good. Shake hands. I love you. Great person. All that stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to help me because it plays a huge role on our people and what's impacting here. And every time something is going to be developed, every single time something's going to be developed, you know, we hear about it. Everybody show up and shut it down. Everybody show up and shut it down. It's a hard thing to do. When somebody's zoned for something, it's hard to tell them no because what ends up happening is if you can say no for so long and then you end up buying their project because they sue you and then you pay for their project. The city pays for their project because we can't stop that once it's zoned. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why, you know, we need to have conversations like this because it's important. And it's important that we get together and go in as a team and discuss these things. So hopefully, you know, in the future, we'll be able to work together.
We have a meeting in May.
Great. Yeah, and I think our meeting might be the same time because I talked to him. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, there you go. So great. I mean, but that's what we have to do. And I think I talked to him the other day, and he said, well, we're trying to do something over on Highway 30. Well, you know what? We all need to know that. And yeah. So anyway, so guys, this kind of concludes our State of the City. I appreciate y'all coming out. Obviously, not going to take questions because I know they're going to be tough. And I'm just kidding. But anyway, I hope you guys are excited as this team is because this team is really fired up about doing the right thing for the residents. And I will tell you that we will be as transparent. We have a transparency portal here. This is just what it's going to look like. But one of the conversations that Damon and I had while we were riding on the golf cart was, I said, you know, everybody always tells stories whenever they run. They run on something, and then the moment that they get elected, they forget about what they run on. You know, let's remind them of what they run on. Let's remind ourselves what we run on. So we decided, and Damon and I were talking, we were like, let's put a whiteboard in council. You know, let's go primitive. Let's just put a whiteboard in there. The only problem with the whiteboard is every time somebody rubbed up against it, you lost 3 things that you were working on. Yeah, so a report card. So now, you know, we have this, and it's going to be projected at every council meeting so you guys can see it. It is a future task list. It's the status of that project, where we are, and then we will have a current task list, and they'll be graded as how we want those things to be accomplished. And, Oh, okay. Yeah, so, sorry. But anyway, so yeah, I have to have somebody do that. I'll keep talking. But this thing is going to be great, and I think it's going to be important for you guys to see that. And I appreciate y'all coming out. Thank you so much.